everybody. On that cue, I would like to just remind all of you to just take out your cell phones and check if it is in silent mode, or probably you can switch it off, please, for the next couple of hours. Thank you. Well, we all have heard of getting ready in our Sunday best. I would consider today as one of the best Sundays at 136.1 Yoga Community. Not every day do we get to meet a master of yoga up this close and personal, listen to his wise words directly, and also get to interact with him. I'm indeed honored to introduce one of the living legends of yoga, Srivatsa Ramaswami. I'm sorry. Well, I'm basically a management professional, so I'll give an analogy that I'm familiar with. Imagine getting tutored personally by Philip Kotler on marketing for over 2 to 3 decades. Or those science types, I would say. Imagine studying physics under Albert Einstein for over 30 years. Yes, starting at the age of 16, Srivatsa Ramaswami was a student of the father of modern yoga, Sri T. Krishnamacharya. He studied with Krishnamacharya for 33 years here in Chennai from 1955 until 1988, shortly before Krishnamacharya's passing. In fact, he lived for 100 years. As I said earlier, Srivatsa Ramaswamy is the longest standing student outside of Krishnamacharya's family. Many of the world-renowned yoga teachers of today have been students of Krishnamacharya. To name a few, you would know Sri B.K.S. Iyengar, as in he was recently awarded the highest second civilian award. He was a student of Krishnamacharya. The late Patabi Joyce of the Mysore Ashtanga School of Yoga, and Sri T.K.V. Desikachar, who's the head of KYM, Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, whom we all know. Since yoga is a science and an art, working closely with the teacher is highly beneficial. Having started very young, Srivatsa Ramaswamy has a strong theoretical background, studying in great depth the various aspects of yoga and also classical texts in Sanskrit like the Bhagavad Gita, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, Hatha Yoga Pratipika, Yoga Yajna Samhita, Yoga Upanishads, and Vidyas, as well as Mantra Yoga. Krishnamacharya did not have a fixed style of yoga or emphasize only a fixed set of asana sequence. He was a different teacher for every student, adapting to become the teacher that the student needed, known as the Vinyasa Krama. Srivatsa Ramaswamy has learned over 700 vinyasas, that is the variations in the yogasana, in about 10 major sequences. He synchronizes the movement with breath to integrate the body and mind. Having studied under Krishnamacharya for 33 years, Srivatsa Ramaswamy has written several books. To name a few, the complete book of Vinyasa, Yoga for the 3 stages of life, basic tenets of Patanjali Yoga. These are some of the books. He taught yoga for more than 25 years in Kalakshetra, Ramachandra University, Medical University, Yoga Brotherhood, etc. He was one of the original trustees of KYM. At present, he lives in USA with his children in Los Angeles, conducts yoga teacher training and therapy training programs at Loyola Marymount University, and travels around the world, teaching yoga, of course. He is a registered, experienced 500-hour level yoga master with Yoga Alliance. He has also recorded over 40 audio versions of various Sanskrit chants. He publishes a monthly newsletter which is very insightful. Thanks to my friend, come yoga therapist, come teacher, Saraswati Vasudevan, I met him a few years ago. In fact, he visited this very studio last month to address the students of the International Yoga Therapy Training Program. Today, it's an honor for me to introduce him to you all, the 136.1 Yoga community. Srivatsa Ramaswamy will talk about holistic yoga, basically the why of yoga, the yoga fundamentals, as he sees it. Yoga for physical fitness, mental health, and spiritual well-being as well. Without further ado, I will hand over the floor to the living legend of yoga, Srivatsa Ramaswamy. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. ஓம் ஐந்து கரத்தனை ஆனை முகத்தனை இந்தின் இளம்பிறை போன்ற ஈற்றினை நந்தி மகந்தனை ஞான கொழுந்தினை புந்தியில் வைத்தடி போற்றுகின்றேனே. யஸ்யக்த்வா ரூபமாத்யம் பிரபவதி ஜகதோ நேகதானுக்ரஹாய प्रक्षीणक्लेशराशिर्विषमविषधरो नेकवक्त्रसुभोगी सर्वज्ञानप्रसूतिर्भुजगपरिकरप्रीतये यस्य नित्यं देवो हीशस्सवो व्यात्सितविमलतनुर्योगदो योगयुक्तः योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं। श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। अस्मदाचार्येभ्यः सर्वेभ्यो नमो नमः। ओम। Thank you, Yash, for arranging this program. Thank you all for coming. I hope you will find something useful the next hour or hour and a half. I'm going to be here. Yoga is very popular. All of you know that the way, the hall is filled up. Yoga is popular. Yoga was popular when I was a student, say about 30, 40 years ago when I was actively studying with my guru. Yoga was popular, but then it was more subdued. It's not so. In fact, when I was young, people don't say that you practice yoga, you won't get married. Because there is such a negative opinion about family people, so they won't advertise. Now it is yoga is good. Oh yeah, I practice yoga. You are proud of saying that you practice yoga. Anyway, still it was very popular. 40, 50 years back it was popular. About 200 years back, yes, it should have been popular. 1,000 years back, yes, it was popular. During the Vedic times, yes, it was there. There is mention about yoga in the Vedas. There is mention about yoga in the Vedas also. So it is a very, very strong rooted system that has, that has weathered the storm, that has, in fact, has grown in so many different directions, sometimes in the positive direction, sometimes not so positive, but still, yoga is a popular subject. The reason why yoga is so popular is that it caters to the needs of human being in so many different ways. It meets our physical requirements, physical exercise requirement, but it doesn't stop with that. It takes care of the, health aspect. It takes care of not just the physical body, not just the skeletal muscles, but it takes care of the various internal organs, No system directly deals with the internal organs the way yoga does. So, like this, that is why my guru used to say yoga is a sarvanga sadhana. Anything that you want to improve yourself, you can find it in yoga. There is a physical aspect of it, and there is also the aspect of how you interact with the outside world. The yama niyamas are there. They tell you how you must interact with the outside world. Then the physical aspects are taken care of by the asana portion. Then you go to the internal organs in yoga. First of all, you got the, the pranayama, the kumbhakas. They take care of the two important organs inside the thoracic cavity. Then the various bandhas, the inversions, the other karanas, all of them take care of the organs inside the pelvic and the abdominal cavity. So this is at the physical level. So at the physical level, and then they also bring about a lot of physiological changes. It is able to reduce your pulse rate. It is able to, reduce various parameters which should be reduced. So it has got far more reach than normal physical activities. So that is why in yoga, people not, at least in the olden days, they don't merely stop with asana practice. They used to combine it with pranayama because I want to take care of the two important organs in my thoracic cavity, namely the lungs and the heart. They call it as Swasha Kosha and the Hridaya Kosha. Both of them are, koshas. Kosha means sacs or self-contained units. Both of them are housed here, and then the way to deal with them is to use your breath, use your breath. So they came out with so many different breathing techniques, and then followed up with a number of bandhas, so that you will be able to access the lungs and the heart very well, and then they were able to target each and every organ in the thoracic cavity. Then the other activities, other functions, other procedures like your Mola Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, with that they were able to take care of most of the abdominal and the pelvic organs. In the abdomen you got the stomach supported by two important other organs like your pancreas and the liver. Then below the navel in the pelvic cavity you got the other organs like your Malakosha, you know what is Malakosha. Then Mutra Kosha, Mutra means urine, Kosha means bag, which means Mutra Kosha is the bladder. Some people say Mutra Kosha refers to the kidneys. Then there is the Garbha Kosha. Garbha means fetus, Kosha means bag, so uterus is a bag. So like that they were able to take care of all the internal organs also. That's why my teacher used to say that yoga is a Sarvanga Sadhana. Sarva means all, Anga means parts, Sadhana, activity that will meet the requirements of the entire body. Almost every cell in the body can be reached by these procedures. The procedures are, and then with respect to asanas, you are not merely half a dozen asanas to sit down. In various asanas, you move in so many different ways. So what happens, you are able to access different parts of the body. So if you merely sit down and then, do about a dozen asanas also, they are good. But, you can make it more useful by moving the body in these various asanas. You raise your arms, bend to the sides, bend back, twist, do so many movements in different positions. When you do like this, they are called as vinyasa krama. You do a lot of vinyasa so that you will be able to reach almost all the joints in the body. Ultimately, with pranayama and bandhas, you are able to reach the internal organs as well, so that it makes a completely different approach to your body. I'm just talking only about the physical aspects. Even with respect to physical aspect, the approach of yoga is much different from other forms of physical exercises. One more thing about yoga as a physical exercise is they try to manipulate the other physiological parameters like your heart rate, like your breath rate. See, these are two important things. In the olden days, they gave a lot of importance to breath rate. We normally talk about the pulse rate. We say the pulse rate should be around 70 or so. 60 is good. 50, you're getting into trouble. Likewise, up to 100 you can tolerate. If it is more than 100, you got tachycardia. It is not. They got a range within which this will have to. But olden days, the yogis said that the pulse rate should be lower. And then they also said the breath rate also should be lower. One of the reasons why they said the breath rate should be lower was because, you may not agree with that, they say that our lifespan is predetermined. Oh, no, I don't believe in this karma theory. Okay, you don't believe in that. Anyway, they believed in that, and then they said that your lifespan is determined by not number of years. It doesn't say so-and-so will live for 78 years, 4 days and 3.5 seconds. It doesn't say that. It says so-and-so will live for so many breaths. Okay, so it is quite logical, If you want to live longer, why do you want to live longer? You need more time for you to realize the true nature of your own self. If you are a spiritual, if you want to go along the spiritual path, the more time you have, the better chance you have of achieving your goal, isn't it? If you give me more time, I can do a job better rather than hurrying through. So, extending the lifespan, by how do you do that? By making your breath rate lower. Normal, our breath rate is about 15 breaths per minute or so. But then by doing the asanas with a lot of synchronized breathing, you normally, when you do vinyasa krama practice, you are able to reduce your breath rate to about 6 per minute, 5 to 6 per minute. So like that, you can probably practice for about half an hour or 45 minutes at the rate of 6 per minute. So what happens, instead of 15 per minute, you are using a less number of breaths. So, simple arithmetic. So you may be able to add 3 to 4 years to your lifetime. Of course, others may not like you living longer, but then, I have to live longer so that, I have my own goals, I have my own desire. So let me, and then say basically all of us inherently, there is a intrinsic desire, innate desire to live longer. So we tend to live. So making use of, less number of breaths per unit time is one goal. And then it is also, what happens is, if you deliberately apply, see, your breathing is both under voluntary and involuntary control. All the time it is under involuntary control. But then during the time you practice yoga, they wanted you to bring your breathing under voluntary control, right through the 1 hour practice that you do. But nowadays what is happening is people practice asanas, the yoga, more as an aerobic exercise. In aerobic exercise, what happens? Your breath rate is increased. Normally, you don't care about it. There's a nice workout. You sweat a lot, and then you are quite happy. But then the yoga approach is slightly different. They say that already you stretch your body. If you stretch your body, it is going to be helpful. So you stretch your body, stretch all the muscles so that the blood circulation is going to improve. All these things they agree. But at the same time, they said that you should not increase your breath rate. In fact, exactly what my Krishnamacharya used to do, my guru used to do. Whenever you practice asanas with him, in fact, in the initial stages, my whole family was studying with him. My father, my mother, myself, my somewhat handicapped brother, and my sister, younger sister. All of us used to practice in the morning. He used to come to our house at that time. So there, what we'll do, he will give instructions differently to different people. So the moment he finds my mother was, feeling a bit short of breath, he will ask her to lie down and take rest, get back your breath, and then continue. So, but over a period of time, what happens is you will be able to maintain these 5 to 6 breaths per minute for the entire duration of your asana practice. And then you follow it up with the pranayama practice. Normally, your pranayama practice is in which you reduce your breath rate from the normal 15 to just 2 per minute. If you do a good pranayama, inhale for about 5 seconds, hold the breath for another 5 seconds, with the simplest pranayama. Exhale for 10 seconds, and hold the breath out for another 5 seconds or so. During which time, if you want, you can do your bandhas. It takes about 25 to 30 seconds or so. So you will be able to reduce your breath rate to just 2 per minute. So if you do about 40 times pranayama of 20 minutes or so, you have substantially reduced your breath. So over a period of time, what happens is, breath becomes more under your control. See, the more you are able to bring the breath under control, they say the mind also can be brought under control. The more you are able to bring the breath under control, you are able to bring the mind also under control. According to my guru, the two things, prana and your manas, your mind and prana, are good friends. Unfortunately, the way we go about, our mind runs around in so many different directions. Breath is taking care of itself. It does. There is no connection between. There is no we don't connect both the breath and the mind. So when you sit down and do pranayama, or you practice your vinyasas with the breath, mindful breathing, then what happens? You are able to bring the mind also into the whole picture. Once the mind is with the breath, or if you are able to see, if you are able to synchronize the movement with the breath, and the mind is going to follow the breath, then what happens? The mind and the body are in union. You get some kind of yoga straight away. So if you practice like this, what happens? You prepare yourself for later practice called meditation in dhyana. In dhyana, what do? You try to bring your mind to focus on one object. That object should be uplifting object. So that's what you try to do. So even while you practice your asanas, you try to bring the breath and the mind to synchronize or to be properly coordinated with your movements. If you do that, so that is the reason why when you practice asanas, mindless asana, sometimes what happens, if you do what is it called? A workout, in gym workout, what do? You may do a treadmill, you may have a monitor in front of you. You can even watch a TV or talk to your friend. Completely, the mind is not with you can keep it. But here they say, no. Whenever you do yoga, the mind should be completely involved in it. And the best way to bring the mind to this particular activity is to use the breath. Mind and the breath are good friends. That's why the word Hatha Yoga is actually pranayama. Whenever I say I practice Hatha Yoga, what it means? I practice pranayama. Ha refers to prana, tha refers to apana, yoga means union. So the union of these two is called Hatha Yoga. Okay, right. Now let us go back to the word yoga itself. Let us start with the word yoga. What is the meaning of the word yoga? The word yoga means, yoga is a word that comes from a Sanskrit root called yujir yoge, or yunj to unite. The root is yunj to unite. This root is used in the Vedas also. Yunjate, mana yunjate, dhiyaha, mana yunjate, dhiyaha. Mana means mind, dhi is the intellect. The mind and the intellect should be united. That's how it says. So any activity that we do, whatever activities that we do with the mind, like or the coordinating various senses in the body, the mind should be involved in it. That is the message that is given in this sloka, in this Vedic mantra. Mind and the body should be united. I mean, is it okay with you? I keep talking what I want to talk. I don't know what you want. Is it okay? Yes. Please. Okay. Now the word yoga means to unite. Okay. My teacher used to give this example. When you want to unite when you want a union to take place, there should be two separate principles to start with. Two separate principles should be there, and union will have to take place. And then there should be some compatibility between these two. Unless there is compatibility between these two, there is no union possible. For instance, you take water, you take oil. However much you may try, you may put them together, but they don't mix. They just don't mix. They don't mix. There is no union possible, even though they look alike and all that. There is no union possible between these two because they got two different characteristics. So in yoga, there should be union between two distinct principles, and then there should be some compatibility between them. There may be differences, but they should be compatible. And thirdly, there should be activity to bring them together. See, supposing some person is here, another person is here. If you want to bring them together, somebody must move. Either I should move, or the mountain should come to me. Something will have to move. Something will have to move. So some activity will have to be there. Activity can be in one of the two principles, or activity can be in both the principles. See, both of them can come towards each other. Right? See, this is the other thing that we'll have to see. So according to this, this understanding, there were a few very interesting yoga systems that were evolved in the olden days. One of the most important is known as the Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga. Yoga means union. The next question is union of what? What do you want to unite? So the union will be Ha and Ta. The word Ha refers to prana, Ta refers to apana. There is only one life principle, but for the sake of normal functioning, the prana divides itself into five different divides itself into 5 ways: prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. That's what the old texts say. And then each one has got a different sthana. There's no point in all the going from the same place. So prana is supposed to be in the hridaya, apana is to be lower than the diaphragm. Like that, they have got 5 different positions. Let's not go into that. Now, in the two main important pranas in this are the prana and the apana. Prana is called the mukhya prana. When all of them are united, we call them mukhya prana, but they are all divided. Each one has got a different function. Prana basically tries to get a lot of things inside our system. Apana is something that tries to get a lot of things we don't want out of the system. To take it, that's why the inhalation, some people say, is prana. The exhalation is apana. Likewise, all other excretory functions, when you want to throw a lot of stuff out of the system, apana comes into play. Anyway, here what they are trying to say is the prana and apana should be united. Don't ask me why it should be done. That's a different thing. Prana and apana should be united. Once prana and apana is united, then they say it can be driven through the sushumna. It goes to sahasrara. You get some kind of experience. I don't have that experience. Those people have that experience. So they say this is something extraordinary. Why don't you do that? Okay. So they developed a number of procedures by which the prana and apana could be united. So once prana and apana are united, then it is